Hi everyone, I'm going to introduce WebSockets. So firstly, what are WebSockets? WebSockets use this fully duplex bidirectional communication channel between the client and server, which basically means that the client and server can talk in real time without having to continuously making requests. It allows real-time data flow. And unlike HTTP, which connection is typically closes after one request-response pair, the connection of WebSockets always stays open. So both client and server are simultaneously emitting and listening. And there is no polling overhead. So it doesn't need to constantly sending messages to check if new data is ready. Instead, it only sends messages when there is data to send. There are tons of different uses of WebSockets. This includes multiplayer games, social feeds, which gives you ability to give notifications, social likes, and shares in real time, collaborative editing, just like Google Docs, that multiple users can work on the same document, real-time data visualization, online drawing canvas, chatting, and also the location-based services. How does WebSockets work? So firstly, the client will send an HTTP request. This is a normal HTTP request, but with an upgrade header, and the server takes the request, and if it knows that the client is trying to upgrade this connection to WebSockets, then it switches the protocol. This is called WebSocket handshake. Then what happens is that WebSockets becomes a binary protocol and it's detached from HTTP. So now server can send information to client and the client can send information to server. And there's no order then. Like client can send twice and client and server can send information concurrently. Finally, when there is one side close the connection, the whole connection is closed. This is an example of WebSockets implementation. This is a cryptocurrency exchange platform. As you can see, I did not refresh any pages or make any requests. The data is pushed to UI whenever there is an update from the server side. Now I do inspect. I go to Network WS and refresh the page. As you can see, this is WS/feed. From the headers tab, you can see the URL is WSS, which stands for WebSocket Secure, and messages. So this is what's happening right now. These are the JSON data that is coming in. I'm going to show you some of the code of WebSockets. So firstly, we'll use new WebSocket to create a WebSocket connection. OnOpen refers to the initial handshake between client and server. So web is now ready to transmit the data. The onMessage event takes place when the server sends some data. And onClose event is usually fired after onError event, which is called when something wrong occurs between the communications. Now I'm going to introduce you Socket.io. So Socket.io is a nicer way of interfacing with WebSockets. It takes WebSockets and makes it a lot easier to use. It's the JavaScript library for manipulating WebSockets. It allows automatic connection and disconnection. And it gives the ability to create these things called namespaces or rooms, which is sort of like a group of clients they can talk to. This is socket I/O code. First, we are going to require socket I/O. So this line of code creates a new socket I/O instance that is attached to HTTP server. io.on is whenever someone connects and this gets executed. And there is socket.on inside io.on. So whenever someone disconnects, this piece of code gets executed. Now I'm going to talk about some other technologies that are used to achieve quite similar real-time goals to what WebSocket does, and you may have heard of this before. Polling. So polling performs periodic requests regardless of the data that exists in the transmission. The request is sent in a synchronous way. The client makes a periodic request in a specified time interval to the server. With long polling, the client requests information from the server in a way similar to a normal polling. The server holds the request and waits for information to become available, after which a complete response is sent to client. Compared to polling, long polling reduces the amount of time that needs to be sent because the server only sends data when there really is data. Hence, the client does not need to check at every interval of time. Streaming. It is considered as the best option for real-time data transmission. The server keeps the connection open until the required data is being fetched. In this case, the connection is said to be open indefinitely. And last one is AJAX. AJAX is based on JavaScript's XML HTTP request. XML HTTP request object allows execution of the JavaScript without reloading the complete web page. So AJAX sends and receives only a portion of the web page. So this is my presentation. Thank you for listening.